Ladies and gentlemen, they got him.
Yes, they did.
They got him.
Jeffrey Epstein has been compromised to a permanent end.
Okay, so we're now T plus days from 0 hour.
Yeah.
At the MCC Correctional Facility in downtown Manhattan. I know you guys are probably your minds are vibrating at quite similar frequency to ours now with regards to this Jeffrey Epstein's suicide, and I'm doing the air quotes in the air. He killed himself in federal custody. Was he on suicide watch? I don't know. Apparently not.
Yeah, no, he'd only just tried to kill himself 2 weeks ago. Why would you have him on suicide watch?
I want to be clear. We are on the road right now. We are coming to you from Des Moines. We are separate from our Sicko Hunter home base.
Yeah, I don't have my cork board. I don't have any of
the connections,
pictures, my yarn connectors.
I didn't bring any of my notebooks and all the various proofs that I have. Felix is not with us either. I do suspect we will do another deep dive episode into this story. Probably get Sicko Hunter West Coast soldiers, Brace and Liz, back on the hunt. I'd like to get them back in the cut and do a much longer episode about this. But suffice to say, I woke up on Saturday, my birthday. Looked at my phone, as you do, sort of half asleep, and I'm seeing people like, I can't even take this Epstein shit. Like, I don't even know what to say. And I'm like, tell me about it, brother. This case is wild. Scrolled a little bit further. Jeffrey Epstein dead in his cell he just said killed himself.
Killed himself.
In the cell.
Just that thing that happens. Why do you need more specifics than that? He killed himself.
Yeah, I don't know what more I can say about this now.
It's just goddamn beyond everything, Ed Tom.
I just here is what I know for sure. There's a number of possibilities of what could have happened here. Him killing himself is not one of them.
Bottom possible likelihood. Lowest rung.
Murdered for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Body double swap switch.
Honestly, not outside the realm of possibility.
At this point, can we really say anything is too insane?
Come on, people. This is happening right in front of your face. They're looking you in the face and saying, yeah, a guy in federal custody in a secure housing unit who had previously tried to kill himself was left unsupervised
also
long
air
enough
quotes around
to
that.
somehow kill themselves in a cell where there's almost nothing that you could hang something from, and there's nothing to hang anything from. Oh, he just did it. And we're just supposed to say, okay, and you're telling us in no uncertain terms, what are you going to do about it? And that's why this serves two purposes. It gets Epstein out of the way, and it is just a big fuck you. We now have to walk around with that in our heads. We have to think, how can we ever think we're going to beat these people when they could do something like that right out in public, and there's not a goddamn thing we can do about it?
I mean, this is like, a week after we learned that he captivated some of the leading minds of Harvard and some of the top scientists in the world, captured their imaginations with a plan to freeze his brain and dick and create a teenage sex farm for breeding purposes, where he basically wanted his DNA to populate the universe and take over humanity.
Just
through AI, genetics,
super villain shit, like volcano lair super villain shit.
And I just him at a dinner party of the leading minds of Harvard, and he's just through cryogenics, artificial intelligence, and my dick, we're gonna create a race, a super race
of incredibly horny piano playing math prodigies.
And then Steven Pinker or whoever is interesting, tell me more.
Yeah.
But yeah, now when we did the episode 2 weeks ago, it's just oh, well, I guess they tried to kill him. I guess the question is, why did that fail?
I mean, the thing is there's no way of knowing exactly what happened. Maybe the first one was him trying to get moved. Maybe it was fake. Maybe it was fending off an attack. Who knows? There's so many variables. All we know is that the likelihood that it is what we're being told is almost zero. Almost
zero. And why I would put it even beyond zero is the fact that on Saturday, when this news broke, which is an event that happens where the gulf between what you're seeing can understand through your own perception and what you're being told is so vast. It's just anyone can look at this and just be like, come on. This isn't like he got killed a day after these court documents got unsealed, linking this human trafficking ring to Bill Richardson, George Mitchell, among other people, and then also an unnamed prime minister, and already
Prince Andrew, the royal family.
And then now that he's dead, there is no criminal case.
Yeah, that's over.
It's gone.
There's
done.
no other
It's
person
nothing.
who's been charged with anything. So, oh well, I guess we could just close the book on that one and dust our hands off.
Remains to be seen. I asked this of several of the presidential candidates at the Iowa State Fair yesterday, the senators in particular, whether the Senate should convene hearings on this and maybe have some of his alleged victims and the people who have, brought this case to light to testify and tell their story. In front of a full, the Senate and in television cameras. I think they deserve not just the chance to publicly state their case and the accusations that of what has happened to them, but also I think they're probably in extreme danger themselves. And
Absolutely.
any more
they
public,
could do anything,
and any more public profile we can get for these women, or to protect them, I think is extremely necessary.
Absolutely.
At this point.
They've clearly gone rogue here. They'll do whatever needs to be done to cut this off. And I think I had a realization. This is not a thing I can say with any certainty, but it is a hunch I've had. So the two more likely questions, the two likely answers to the question, what happened to Epstein? Least likely is that he actually killed himself because he was so sad. Oh. More likely, one of two things. One, they killed him, snuffed him out. Two, body switch. Those two things correspond to two different theories, I think, of the case. One, if they body switched him, then that answers the question of the dead man switch. The question of how can they kill Epstein if, as is likely being a guy in his situation, he has contingencies to release sensitive information if he is ever killed. So that means in that case, they would have to switch him out because they can't kill him. If they killed him, I think it's for this reason, or they were able to do it for this reason. I think that in a real sense, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't real. I do not think that what we assume as Jeffrey Epstein, like his life, his hedge fund, his network of properties, his life, I don't think that was really him. I feel like it is a straw name that is used by the network and by intelligence agencies to move money around, to move girls around, to maintain properties. And there's a name attached, there's a body attached to that name, and it's this guy. And he might really be Jeffrey Epstein. Like, that might be the name on his Social Security card. But he has no actual connection to the higher levels of the money moving around and the actual edifice of the thing being organized. He's just along for the ride, which means if he gets caught, you just fucking cut the string and it's over, because he never had access to anything that could have compromised anybody, because he's just a cutout.
I'll depart slightly from. I think Matt's brain has gotten a little too galaxified off of this. The Jeffrey Epstein is not a real person.
He's the Kaiser Soze.
Okay.
He's a name.
A spook story.
He's a spook story. He's a pedophile. It's a pedophile like front man.
I will say this though. The thing that leads me to believe that almost anything is possible other than the official story of him killing himself in federal custody, like as this trial was beginning to bring to light all sorts of incredibly damning things about, let's be honest, the most powerful people in the world.
Yep.
The reason I think it is almost impossible that he killed himself is that immediately after the story happened, I saw takes from numerous journalists all saying some variation of, I don't know. I mean, it's odd, but I don't think we need to be all conspiratorial about this. People kill themselves in prisons all the time. It's one of the leading causes of death in prison. And as Matt Brady quite correctly pointed out, that's assuming that all of those, at least a good percentage of those, aren't also shoddy murder cover-ups.
Of course. Tons of jail suicides are actually murders. And even the ones that are suicides are jail suicides, like some fucking county jail with minimal security. He's in a fucking federal secure housing unit 2 weeks after having already tried to kill himself. He had no fucking roommate. They'd taken the roommate out of his room right before it happened. This is not a normal situation. It just does not make sense. It does not add up. It does not add up, sir.
I mean, like I said, I expect we will do a deeper dive back when we're at Sicko Hunter World Headquarters to try to just suss out, try to make some sense of this. I mean, it still remains fascinating, but I think what remains to be seen is, will this work? And then everyone will just forget about it and move on, or will anyone in the government pick up any kind of further investigation into what's going on here and the human trafficking network that has been the outlines of which are strongly intimated by this case?
I gotta say, like in my dark moments, I feel like that the whole Epstein affair. If you think of him as just like a name for this network, a label for the trafficking area, the trafficking nexus. His name getting arrested, this guy going to jail, that is a glitch in the code, basically, of the algorithm of world government, right? Like the thing that keeps money and influence and power circulating across the globe. That is, at this point, basically a computerized system. And he is one element of it. And they fucked something up in the code. They messed up. Somebody got sloppy. And this is the code rewriting itself and eliminating the glitch. And we're just going to forget about it. It's going to be something that is just a mere tickle in the back of our head. That was weird that time that happened, right? The guy who was friends with the two presidents and had a trafficking ring just killed himself in federal custody. That was weird. And then we just forget about it.
What I also think was funny is that Donald Trump did retweet something from like some comedian who's a fan of his who did a video where he was like,
family.
Come on, like you're telling me that like, this guy had the dirt on the Clintons and like he just killed himself in jail. Blah blah blah, and Trump was retweeting essentially endorsing the idea that the Clinton death list, which by the way
might be real.
I think it speaks for itself. But what I find hilarious about that is Trump is like, this doesn't add up. Wait, it doesn't make sense. It's fishy. Something's going on here. Something's rotten. And it's just like, if he were just still Donald Trump, that would be funny and understandable. But it's like, you're the president. You're the fucking president. You're telling me you couldn't keep this guy alive in federal custody.
He thinks his presidency is watching himself be president on television. He has no actual control over anything that's happening. All he can do is tweet, "Wow, that's crazy. Fucked up."
Fucked up if true. All right. Well, I don't want to go on too long about this. Like I said, I'm sure your brains are humming at a similar frequency, but we'll be back. And like I said, I'd like to talk to Brace and Liz again.
Yeah, I just want to run one idea by them, and that is that this entire thing is. It's either what I said earlier, a glitch in the code that needed to be fixed, debugged, or an intentional Freemasonic ritual called the making manifest of that which is hidden, in which the occult powers reveal themselves to the masses as a ritualized coming out, a revelation, an apocalypse to bring in the new dawning era, the age of Horus.
Are we in the age of Horus? Stay tuned for further details.
It's the year of the pig.
I would like to get Virgil in on this conversation. Virgil,
hi, I'm here. Yeah,
yes.
Reporting from the other couch.
Virgil doesn't like talking about the dark forces.
I know. I like talking about the dark forces. I just, as you've seen, Matt is on another wavelength. He's off the spectrum at this point. And the past few days of hanging out with him has just been an endless torrent of that sort of thing. And I can't really maintain my sanity in this place.
It's not a Lovecraft protagonist.
Just keep in mind, we are in the field right now, as we'll talk to you about. So we are cut off from our regular supply of substances that make us human in New York. We have been making do with local non-craft cocaine.
Various poultices, tinctures.
I've been eating. I tried this. It's a local delicacy at the State Fair. It's called a GMO.
Well, yeah. So we have been at the Iowa State Fair for the last 3 days. We're mostly gonna keep our powder dry on our State Fair experiences because we are doing a live show here in Des Moines tomorrow night that I want to be, Iowa State Fair based. We've seen a lot of the candidates. We saw Daddy Bernie.
We saw the King Pimp.
We saw the King Pimp himself. The most. The most big-dicked player in American public life.
No question.
There's absolutely no question about that. It's Bernard Sanders right now.
He's the king.
We saw a lot of the other losers as well.
Yeah.
We just had in our rented house / dojo.
In the dojo. The sex dojo.
The sex dojo.
Like, should we save this for the show, or should we explain to people where we're recording? I feel like the listeners have a right to know where we're recording right now. So we are at, and we booked our travel last minute, and we had to rent an Airbnb, and there was exactly one still available in Des Moines, and it is a small palace in suburban West Des Moines on a normal, every town USA street. There's a pagoda here.
Yeah.
The first thing we see is outside this area with an anime of 4 pigs doing karate moves.
And it says the double down dojo, and then you walk in this house and it's like very 1970s, but like every single aspect of the decor has been designed by someone who wanted to create a sort of Aristote's version of something I guess can only be described as vaguely Asian.
Yes,
it's Asian themed.
It's Oriental in the way that like a family Chinese buffet might be.
It's like the scene in Boogie Nights, after he gets money and gets a house, and he's showing Julianne Moore around, and he goes, "Do you like it? It's my dojo." Imagine if that was the entire house.
It's also in the
basically
architecture.
You could remake Boogie Nights in this house and not leave. It could be every location.
There is a faux thatched ceiling. God, what the hell else is in here?
There's a moat. There's a water.
There's a moat. Yes, there's
it's
this
a dry
activity
water
room,
feature in one of the things. He's got like a room that's just his golfing stuff. There's a parrot head.
There's a lot of bedrooms with like full floor to ceiling mirrors facing the bed.
This is
There is a sauna in the basement.
There's dragons and like Chinese zodiac signs everywhere, but again, it's not specifically Chinese because
it's
dojo
vaguely
thing
Asian.
is Japanese. I mean, it's like pseudo offensive, but also kind of pimp, kind of baller,
very 70s.
kind of extremely
very 70s, yeah.
extremely 70s.
He also
feel.
loves bacon.
Yeah,
There's a lot of bacon memorabilia strewn throughout the place.
My bedroom doesn't have a door. There's also strange damage to this place that's all very inexplicable. For instance, this curtain over here, there is one of the window curtains is just perfectly sliced as if done by a katana. We've not actually found the katanas, though.
Yeah, and it is this mix of like, it's all kitsch, but it's a mix of like Americana stuff where there's just like a core, like a neon core sign behind like the living room bar right next to like a giant like porcelain Buddha's head.
There's there's a lot of glass surfaces here. We
a lot
are
of windows, mirrors.
We are recording
mirrors.
from the cuddle puddle zone. These circular couches around a glass table.
We're recording in the cuddle puddle room, and we just had earlier today, in the dojo / polycule, we had admirable.
Damn right he is.
ever said
Damn right he is, sir.
Said
You are goddamn right he is.
Admiral Joe Sestak.
Yes. Who we saw him yesterday, and it was like when I saw this is like when I was a kid and I saw fucking Arcade Fire open for the Unicorns. I didn't know who they were. And I just stopped when they started playing Wake Up and stared at the stage like, how the fuck? He was just a pimp. He's like this lithe. He's got the body of a dancer. He's got this opened striped shirt. He looks like he's the polycule president of Del Boca Vista Stage 3. And he's like moving his body around. His voice is shaking. He has a great command of up and down. His voice trembles. He's got a great emotional range. He has this vision, this like militarized state, like a military socialism,
Kind of like Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers, exactly.
Like a woke kind of
woke fascism. Because it's like, and I was like, damn, I could imagine him being the guy who leads like a business plot coup, Like shows up on TV one day and it's like, I'm Admiral Joe, I'm in charge now. And that wouldn't be the worst thing that could happen, honestly. That's not the worst outcome we have coming down the pike, folks.
Against Donald Trump, though,
Yeah.
not FDR.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for the candidate interview with Joe Sestak. And, just again, want to make clear now, please don't hector us for not constantly scolding him about his participation in America KKK's military
we're
imperial
trying to
death
have
machine.
a good convo, and
we were just chilling. We're just chilling in the good vibe zone, and it's just like, look, you don't have to agree with him, you don't have to vote for him, but he is now a character in your head, and
he has joined the menagerie.
Yeah.
Of things that you have to know now. Welcome, please welcome. It's Chapo season 4. Today's special guest, the Admiral. You will, Will's being good cop right now. I'll be bad cop. Listen the fuck up. You will respect the Admiral. There is a commanding officer on the bridge. You will listen to this episode. Yes, you will donate to his campaign. And yeah, fuck that. You have to agree with him and you have to vote for him.
He is Sestak, actually, speaking of officer on the bridge, he reminded, he's like a synthesis of Riker and Picard.
Yeah. And you must make memes about him. That's the other thing.
No, he is a new character. He's a character now
new character
in the meme space.
Yeah.
Yes, no, he has joined the polycule, and along with Marianne and Andrew Yang, instead of orbs, it will be boats.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe the whale emoji. I don't know yet. Well, let's just see what works.
Yeah, and it would be things like you'd have like Elizabeth Warren head, and it would say, "I have a plan." Joe Sestak, I have a boat. That's it. That's the meme. That's the meme concept.
What is his speech?
Andrew Yang says $1,000 a month. Sestak, 1,000 boats a month.
I've got a plan. Yeah, I got a plan for that. More boats.
Yeah. So
more
ships. That's the meme. And get to it.
Just a picture.
Memes ahoy!
Picture of a Navy destroyer caption. Can Bernie come out and play? Him as the SimCity 2000 transportation advisor going, you can't cut back on naval funding. You will regret this.
So yeah, no, it's like we won a candidate at the state fair.
Yeah.
We did. We took him home. It was great. I was begging the guys, can we adopt him?
I have to say, after we won him at the ring toss, I was pissed because I was like, there's no way we're going to drag him around here all day. We're going to end up forgetting him somewhere, like a bathroom. But no, we remembered. We held on to him the whole day and got him back to the house.
Yeah, and we took him out of the little plastic bag and we put him in a proper fishbowl. And he likes it here.
He loves it.
He's got friends. He's got things to look at.
No, I will say
He's in the
about,
sauna right now.
I will say about the Admiral. He showed up to our to the battle space alone.
Yeah.
He has no entourage. He says he's been staying in Iowa for a month, living in a $40 a night Ocano lodge.
Yep.
Which
He's
is like
a real one.
That's pretty bleak.
He's a real one.
Yeah, no, but he showed up. It's like the Spartans. They sent one man.
Absolutely.
And Admiral Joe showed up.
One riot, one ranger.
Totally alone.
No, we've talked about this. He is at a competitive disadvantage because Iowa's a landlocked state. He does not have access to his power source, which is the massive fleet that he commands.
Oh man. We'll see how Joe does.
Yeah.
As things move forward.
No, we know. I've said that I think that we're more likely to get like a military co-optation of politics and the economy rather than fascism in this country if we have a real crisis. And in that sense, I think that Admiral Joe is the sort of a prefigurative figure like that. Like if it's not him, it's going to be a guy like him espousing ideas like his when the military just takes the reins in the moment of crisis. It'll be a Sestakian military leader.
If that happens, though,
he could be our Admiral Horthy.
If that happens, though, I want it to be a Navy guy and not one of these Army or Marines.
Absolutely. I think we should insist that our military rulers be from the Navy.
Yeah.
No, and I'm convinced now that Navy, but most chill of the 5 branches of the military.
Because it's easiest.
He's the easiest one.
You were going to ask him, like, isn't the Navy the easy one?
Yeah, I mean,
you were saying the other day when we were watching him speak, there was just like he was just like, I was in the Navy. Like they gave me a PhD in economics, philosophy. He was just listing off like these skills he acquired in the Navy.
Yeah, like an ITT tech commercial.
Yeah, yeah. And you were like, well, yeah, because it's like they have there's tons
There's
of time
nothing to do.
pursue.
Yeah, you hang out on a boat, and you take there's like art classes, and you can like get a PhD.
Yeah, it's like being on a cruise.
And you were like, yeah, like all the former Army guys, like their interests and skills are just like, yeah, I'm a gun guy.
Yeah,
guns.
I majored in gun at Army. And all the Navy guys just have fucking. Oh yeah, I've got a PhD in cultural anthropology. I served for 8 years on a battleship.
I'm into guns and having brain damage.
Then of course we can't have an Air Force dictator because those flyboys are all hot doggers.
Oh no, that's that Pinochet helicopter energy. That's way too fascist.
You don't even need a fucking Air Force. Like half of the Navy is planes.
It's
already.
true.
Like get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, that's been actually a hobby horse of a few people for a while. Abolish the Air Force, and I'm in favor of it. It didn't used to be during World War II. We won World War II. It was the Army Air Corps, and then they insisted on splitting off. Get out of it. Get over yourself. No more Air Force. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, fly boys. See ya. You go into the other ones. You go into the other services. Bye-bye.
And our quintessential vision of, alpha, fighter pilot, jock ace pilots is Top Gun, which is about the Navy.
Yep.
They were Navy pilots.
They were.
They
land on the aircraft carrier. It's cool.
They play the volleyball.
Yep.
They have the tight jeans and white t-shirts.
They sing "You Lost That Love and Feeling."
They say you must have carnal knowledge of a woman this time on the premises.
Yep.
And then they're the biggest addicted players.
Yes.
And they're Navy boys.
Yep. Get rid of the Air Force.
Ships.
All power to the glorious Seastakian naval power.
All right, moving on. So, like I said, we saw a lot of the candidates here.
Right.
A lot of the players. The one guy that we didn't get a chance to see because we got here on Thursday.
We got here
the day he was doing his thing at the fair.
Unfortunately,
was Democratic frontrunner Joe Biden,
Friend of the show.
Joe Biden, and he continued. He's had a great week.
Oh yeah, he's not been sundowning for 78 straight hours
ever since the debate. He's been on fire. cannot be stopped. He's had a string of, I don't know, I'll be nice and call them gaffes.
Yeah.
Among them, confusing the Parkland and Sandy Hook mass shootings.
Sure.
Saying I was vice president during the Parkland massacre, which was, he'd been out of office for 2 years at that point. He said, what was the thing where he was like, black kids just have as many skills.
Poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
Oh, yeah. Poor kids are just as smart as white kids. He said in the midst of one of his speeches, we choose truth over facts. Truth over facts. But he did have a good moment here at the Iowa State Fair that I want to talk about. Some Turning Point USA, some Charlie Kirk
weasel.
Yeah, some weasel from Turning Point USA. This woman, got him in the sort of, not the press scrum, but like they walk around and eat the pork chop and the corn dog, and everyone follows him around. And in the midst of that, one of Charlie Kirk's little rats, how many gender? He asked Joe Biden. She asked Joe Biden how many genders there are, and Biden responded, at least 3.
That's so amazing.
And then
the fact that he just decided to go for it.
He goes, there are at least 3. The woman then asked him to name them. And then he said, don't play games with me, kid, adding that he was the first one in the Obama administration to come out in support of marriage equality. And then apparently he grabbed her arm, and all the Daily Caller weirdos are having a field day with that.
It's so amazing because she catches him, and he knows in his head, oh, I'm fucked. I have no idea. All I know is I have a dim knowledge that it's definitely not 2. I know it's not 2. That's all I know. So I know 2 is not right. And then it's just like, am I going to ignore it? No, I'm just going to fucking heave the pigskin down the field, go for the fucking end zone. And it just goes, at least 3.
There are at least 3. However, for anyone else who doesn't want to get tripped up over this question, and Joe Biden not prepared to answer that question. What if you're not prepared for a question like that from a little rat like that, what you say is, get out of here, kid. You bother me. Yeah. You do a little WC Fields things. However, if you want to give the correct and right answer to that question, how many genders are there? You say none. Zero.
Yep.
0 or infinite. Those
Yeah,
are both
yeah.
acceptable answers. But the
Because
clever
they're
dodge
taking
answer
the-
is to say 1, the human gender.
I think 0 is the best answer to that question.
Yeah, there is 0 genders.
There are 0 genders.
The gender's not real.
As many as you want them to be.
Yeah. Good luck, Joe.
Well, this was the week when the press corps finally had to say, we think he's too senile.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
when all the articles are now like, seems like Joe has a real gaffe problem, which you could have which everyone knew was the fucking case.
I mean, he had the gaffe problem back in like 1988.
Yeah, when he was a spry 300 years old.
This is Joe being Joe. But, now, I mean, look, like someone edited together like a mega cut of his brain just short circuiting on camera. But it's all of recent vintage.
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't like when he came out, when Barack Obama nominated him as vice president. And he said, "Isn't this guy great? Barack America." Play the clip of the Joe Biden mega meltdown montage.
Rich Fitzgerald, the county executive, Allegheny County executive, for being here, and we don't always live up to, but that's who we are. Go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight. We can speak out and be more straightforward. Senator Joe, I mean, but I mean, it's not about, I know you're supporting by saying booing, but look, here's the deal. Union workers, the UAW took incredible cuts in their future. You don't have here in Miami, in Florida. You don't have it here, and that is if you keep an audience. All these breakthroughs we have with dealing with the whole, help people who have or in fact are and likely to get Alzheimer's by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Right. I found that the secretary, we sat together in many meetings. My wife is a full-time teacher, taught all during when we were vice president. But President Trump and the demagogues around the world, how can a person dignity be maintained?
And she never yields. She does not break. She stands up.
The bills that the future president here, that the senator is talking about. We choose truth over facts. I keep my recommendations to him in private. Unlike you, I expect you would go ahead and say whatever was said privately with him. That's why I'll end the gag rule, the global gag rule that prevents money from getting to NGOs. $100 billion worth of loopholes in the law. Why they do that? I looked at it anyway. That's what I think my plan. I know what my plan does. By strengthening.
Okay, so
delightful.
but Virgil, to your point that like the media, after his performance at the debate, where again right after that I said they were like strong, energetic, Biden's on top of the ball.
I kind of think. I'm not saying that this matters, but I kind of think that the worm is turning,
Yes,
and now this is
is
the point where the media's like, okay, we're bored with him being the front runner. And I think this just precipitates a spate of negative press that he will not know how to deal with because he's totally inflexible and incapable of analyzing and reacting to new circumstances. So he's just going to stay the course. It'll just get worse and worse, more embarrassing.
No, but I think that the worm is turning slightly where like the media now either, is proactively asking the question like, do you think maybe he's, fit and, mentally fit enough, or, think maybe he's too old or not really. There's something going on there. But similar to the Epstein thing where like there was like, Saturday morning, like an hour after it happened, there just happened to be a whole bunch of takes and articles written within like, a couple hours just saying it's totally normal. People kill themselves in jails all the time.
In fact,
Just nothing to see here.
In fact, by denying that it was a suicide, you're denying the horrible mistreatment of prisoners in our nation's jail.
Right.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
what do you
exactly.
really care about? That's what's really important, not this silly conspiracy theory shit. One of the people who wrote that, by the way, for The Atlantic, the fucking North Atlantic Magazine Treaty Organization, fucking Atlantic Magazine, was somebody who has a organization called, it was the Center for the Study of Institutions and Alternatives, which is a charity think tank.
It's a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit that's about prison reform. And I thought, that's weird. Why would they have this like on the ready? And I looked into it. The guy who runs it is a trial lawyer for very wealthy white collar defendants who uses the like nonprofit generated data about prison inhumanity, about the problems in prison in terms of, basic human rights being violated, and uses it to get lighter sentences for his scumbag white collar defendants. He's literally weaponizing social justice for the benefit of people who are absolute vampires. And that same testimony is not going to be used in the cases of anybody who's poor. They don't get that benefit. He literally is selling it to the highest bidder.
But to the point now where it's like, yeah, after the Epstein thing, a whole spate of articles being like, no big deal. People kill themselves all the time. Nothing to see here. Let's all move on.
Yep.
Let's have a big bowl of strawberry ice cream. The Joe Biden gaffes thing is similar because just today and yesterday, seen a couple pretty big high-profile articles, like Opinion, and then one thing in CNN.com that was basically presented as a news article. I'm going to read that because it's insane. But just essentially saying, this is a Washington Post opinion section by Paul Waldman. Lay off Joe Biden's gaffes. And I'm just like, what's the idea here? That I think Weigel pointed this out, where he was just like, is the idea here, well, if Democrats are nice to Joe Biden in the primary, that means that Republicans also have to be nice to him in the general.
Yeah,
There's
Republicans will only remember that they don't like a Democrat if Democrats remind them.
So let's see what he says here. Regular Plumline readers will know that I'm hardly Joe Biden's biggest fan.
Is it Greg Sargent?
I think that's the Plumline thing, yeah. He goes, I'm hardly Joe Biden's biggest fan, but reporters' coverage of his gaffes is getting out of control. It's both unfair to him and a disservice to the American voters who are trying to figure out who their next president should be. And when the president of the United States is the most prolific liar in American political history, he just passed, and then in parentheses, he just passed 12,000 false or misleading claims. And
that's a lot of Pinocchios.
And is waging a re-election campaign based on racism and fear. The idea that gaffes are an important campaign issue is particularly offensive.
There's 25 candidates. That's what I don't get. I saw yesterday somebody was making a joke about Biden's brain not working, and a woman responded and said, look, okay, we don't have time to be nitpicking about somebody's brain farts. We got Trump in the White House, and we need to beat him. And I'm like, there are 25 other candidates, and half of them have the exact same profile as Biden. They have the same issue positions. They're white men. They are straight. They have everything you think you need to beat Trump. They also don't have advanced dementia. Why are you so fixated on this motherfucker?
And it's like from progressives, Plumline, that's like the progressive Washington Post blog, right?
Plumline, I think, is ostensibly neutral election stuff.
But yeah, like the progressives or Democrats or whatever, this idea that when there's a threat like Donald Trump and he's running a campaign based on racism and fear, fine, that's all true. But it's the primary right now.
Yes!
So that the point is we all know the goal is to beat Donald Trump. But you can't say in the middle of a Democratic primary, everybody just let's ignore the huge glaring flaw with the leading candidate. No, this is where you're supposed to fucking vet the candidates and make sure that you nominate the one with the most support, the one that makes the most fucking sense. This thing, if you want to beat Donald Trump, the way to do it is not to just be let's pretend Joe Biden's brain is fine. Everybody ignore what's right in front of your fucking face.
Because the people you're going to be trying to get to vote for you in the general are not as weirdly invested in this as you are. So they're not going to have the brain screen to be like, no, he's fine. They're going to go, look at him.
You realize what the core matter is Biden's pitch implicitly is, I'm the most electable one. I'm the one who does best in the hypothetical trial poll heats against Donald Trump. But the reality of the matter is Joe Biden has terrible political instincts.
Yes.
His last two presidential campaigns were huge fucking disasters. He won one tough race for the United States Senate, and I guess for some local position before that in Delaware in the 1970s, and since then has just coasted every single fucking time.
Yeah, in a machine state where they just trade off power by predetermined lot, and they don't actually compete with one another.
He's not had to win a competitive race or not been capable of winning one since the fucking 70s.
And he ran for president twice before, once in 1988, once in 2008, and they were both glorious failures, which saw him scrape around 1 or 2%. And in the case of 1988, involved an incredibly embarrassing plagiarism scandal where it was revealed that he just took an entire speech that was about his biography from the fucking British Labour leader, Neil Kinnock.
So he won, of course, 2 elections for the vice presidency, drafting off Obama. That's it. People were voting for Obama. You were the other guy there.
And he's still doing that. He's still fucking drafting on Obama. That's why he's leading all the fucking polls.
If he gets the nomination, it will be Obama's fault, the same way Hillary was. So he is responsible for both of them getting the nomination and then losing by giving them his imprimatur as the popular guy. First, he cleared the lane for Hillary, and then after she ate shit and she can't run again, he's going to do the next best thing, which is draft off of people's residual affection for Obama.
Well, it's a good thing he won't get the nomination then.
I mean, it kind of fits, though, doesn't it? I mean, it's October, and we're watching those 2 sundowning old men jabber with one another. It kind of is what, I don't know. It seems like it's what we're headed towards.
Oh, this is a good thing we picked up on the other day. If it is Trump, Biden, and the general, the debates should be between Don Jr. and Hunter Biden.
Absolutely.
Because that is a contrast that the Democrats can win with.
Yes.
Don Jr. and Eric, Trump's idiot fail sons, to experience pleasure or get off, they pay like $100,000-200,000 to do a fucking vanity hunt in Africa where they walk up to an elephant that's like chained to a stake and just shoot it in the fucking head.
Yeah.
And then carve those pictures of those 2 fucking
disgusting
of Beavis and Butthead posing with the tail of like a giraffe that they just severed, looking like a fucking absolute
an animal that treats its family better, that is more deeply empathetic and more intelligent than either of them.
And they just kill beautiful exotic animals for fun, and that's how they get off and experience pleasure.
And they post on fucking gun idiot message boards about it, about how they're a real hunter. It's like, that's not even hunting. You're not even doing anything.
And they think that they're fucking badasses for doing that shit. They think that they're outdoorsmen. They think they're Teddy fucking Roosevelt. How much fucking guts does it take for fucking Don Jr. to, just put a crossbow to the eyeball of a fucking lynx compared to Hunter Biden walking into Skid Row in L.A. to buy crack, getting a gun put to his head, and then coming back to buy more crack over the rest of the week? Do you think Don Jr. would do that?
No.
He would soil his fucking gabardines at the very prospect. If the fucking car slowed down too much and his window was rolled down in front of Skid Row, he would shit his fucking pants.
No, it's like, Don Jr. is like, I like looking at a stock portfolio and shooting elephants for fun. And like Hunter Biden's like, I smoke crack, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm off that base.
Fun for me, that would be smoking crack. Yeah. What I like to do to unwind is smoke crack. My day, standard work day for me is smoking crack. About it. That's about it. Nice to meet you, though.
No, but Hunter Biden would also beast John Jr.
Oh, just destroy him. All he has is like 4 canned jokes that he got programmed into his head by Charlie Kirk. Oh, triggered much, Hunter? That'd be it. He would just say triggered.
And then Hunter would be like, I wish Felix were here to channel the Hunter energy, but he'd basically be like, You're down in the dirt, and I'm fucking sailing away in the sun, looking down on you like an angel. Fuck you. I'm glad you see this shit right now. My life is fucking beautiful now. I've been in the gutter. Now I'm here. You don't know shit about me. Fuck you.
Triggered?
No, I didn't steal that fucking VCR. Besides, no one uses them anymore. I'm fucking beautiful.
Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's only success.
Yes.
All right, let's see here. All right, I want to read this article because this was actually shocking to me. This is at CNN.com in the politics section. I don't know if it's labeled as opinion or not. Let me just double check. I don't think it is. I think this is just presented as a news article in the politics section of CNN.com. It's by someone named Maeve Reston. I guess is a reporter for CNN. And the headline is, Joe Biden hears your taunts about his age, but he's busy running for president. This article is as close to just a straight press release from a political campaign published as journalism as I've ever seen. It is really quite stunning. So this is Maeve Reston in CNN writing about Joe Biden. Boone, Iowa. As Joe Biden worked his way down the rope line at the Boone County Fairgrounds Friday, his campaign was dealing with what has become a routine problem. The Trump campaign had seized on Biden's mix-up of two words during the previous night's speech, and that fit neatly into Trump's narrative that the 76-year-old former vice president isn't equipped for the mental rigors of the presidency because he's, quote, not playing with a full deck. And of course, Biden's get back to that is like, Trump's playing with a deck, but it's all jokers.
That would be an incredibly powerful deck because jokers are wild.
That's true.
Joey, it could be any card. It's like every hand's a royal flush there.
Biden knew the questions were coming, but here in Boone, he was in the zone, relaxed and seemingly untroubled as he offered well-wishers his skilled hand as they squinted in the bright sun, trying to position their iPhones for selfies with Uncle Joe. It's an ease that comes of years of experience with both crowds and scrutiny, and one that he intends to use as he continues to make his case for the White House. He's just a regular guy, just like us, wants the best for our country and our people, and that's what we all want, said Sheldy Grabow, who described herself as a 28-year-old stay-at-home mom who works with special needs students during the year. She and her friends were much more interested in Biden's message about rebuilding the middle class, which he describes as his North Star, than his gaffes. So I guess, Maeve found, a hardworking single mother who thinks Joe Biden is just like her.
Just
and then,
like her.
I'm more interested in the policies.
My son also smokes crack.
He's more interested in his policies than the gaffes. And it says Biden locked eyes with Gary Craven, who told the former vice president that he'd recently lost his 48-year-old son, Todd, after a struggle with alcohol withdrawal. The Veterans Administration failed him, Craven, a Boone resident, said in recounting of their conversation to CNN. He added that his daughter recently retired from the Air Force after stints in Iraq, Afghanistan, Jordan, Korea, and Somalia with a medical discharge due to post-traumatic stress disorder. She saw too much, Craven said. Biden leaned in close, gripping Craven's shoulders. Can I get your number and call you? The former vice president asked him. An aide dutifully took down Craven's number and said Biden would call him from the car. A little ways down the rope line, a reporter shouted a question about Thursday night's word mix-up, in which Biden misspoke by saying poor kids are just as bright and talented as white kids before immediately correcting himself. President Donald Trump's daughter-in-law used the mix-up to question his mental acuity, the reporter noted. Tell them it's the second anniversary of Charlottesville coming up, so they need to divert to something, Biden replied, referring to the fatal street violence that occurred in 2017's Unite the Right rally in Virginia. Biden often rebukes the president's handling of the incident, Trump's perceived encouragement of white supremacists, with his response that there were very fine people on both sides while campaigning. The reporter persisted. Are you able, do you think, to go through the whole campaign with this kind of scrutiny on you? Yes, I have to. It's legitimate scrutiny, Biden replied. He turned back to the Iowa woman who was trying to take a picture with him. Fire away. Mr. Biden, they say these gas ding your electability, another reporter interjected. Well, that's going to be determined pretty soon, isn't it? Biden parried back. He kept moving down the line, handing a $20 bill to a little girl named Macy Grabow for ice cream, telling her he owed her big for being so good as she listened to his entire speech under the hot sun. Giving $20 to a little girl to get one ice cream, kind of sus.
Yeah, what's she doing with that cash?
Again, I wish Felix was here because I feel like he could vibe off the story of Biden telling a girl, here you are, honey. I owe you big
don't
for
spend
sitting
it all
there.
in one place.
Craven, the father Biden promised to call, dismissed the attention to the former vice president's so-called gaffes. He's a human being like the rest of us, instead of just a Democrat, Craven said, when he asked why he isn't seriously considering any of the other Democratic candidates. I've read his book. I've listened to him speak going back as far as the Obama campaign. I worked 40 years as an electric utility lineman, a foreman, and I understand that experience counts. And some of these people, I don't believe, have reached the level of experience to where they can handle the job that Trump is going to leave us. He continued, I don't think it was possible for one man to destroy the fabric of the country. I'm just a fat, old, retired guy from the Midwest, but I just throw my hands up with Trump. I think that Joe, from what I've seen and read, is probably the finest man who has ever served in our government. From what I've read, Joe Biden is the finest man who has ever served in our government.
I mean, it's not so much a question of, oh, don't you know about the crime bill and don't you know about X, Y, Z? I mean, A, he probably doesn't, and B, he might even have agreed with those things. He's probably relatively conservative for a Democrat. But what is the positive case that he's that good of a guy? What is he clinging to in making that assessment? Where is the evidence? I don't get it. He's just a dude. He was just a senator. And he was the vice president. He didn't do anything. I don't get it. He didn't foster a peace treaty or something. He didn't have a hunger strike. I don't get it. What is going on? Why do people like this?
There's like a subhead, there's a new section to this article that's just titled "Voters Connect with Biden," and it goes on the next sub category or new subject line in the article is Biden on the trail, and it goes. It's not clear yet how effective Trump will be in softening Biden's support with his attempts to describe him as Sleepy Joe or lacking a full deck. Biden's campaign is clearly taking care to address what could become a dangerous liability for his campaign. When he spoke outdoors at the Boone Fairground on Friday, for example, he used a teleprompter and frequently referred to notes he made through his way through the speech, perhaps cognizant that another mistake would be unhelpful as his rivals attempt to build the narrative that he's too old for the job. And still, mistakes were made over the weekend. At a gun control forum on Saturday, he said twice that he met with students who survived the shooting in Parkland, Florida. The incident happened in February 2008, more than a year after he left office. But in comparison to a 73-year-old president who eschews exercise and seems to prefer riding around in a golf cart to walking, Biden walks at a clip that sometimes makes it difficult for the throng of reporters and cameras to keep up
He's
with.
got so much coil potency you wouldn't believe it.
So I'm just going to skip to the end here. It says, when he arrived at the fair 20 minutes early and his staff was trying to move him toward the soapbox, the former vice president glanced at his watch and looked perplexed. We're going to stand there at the soapbox for 20 minutes, he asked his aides. He made an executive decision. There was time for ice cream. Natch. That's how that article ends. There's time for ice cream, Joe.
Joe, we're going to have ice cream now.
He's like, oh boy, is it Monday night?
Yeah. We put the pills in it.
So, I mean, again, I don't know what to make of that. I mean, again, super easy to do, super easy bit. Can you imagine CNN, Politico, New York Times, Washington Post writing an article about Bernie Sanders in the same way that sounded?
Yeah, obviously not.
No, God, no.
Never. If Bernie had 1/4 of the goof-em-ups that Biden has had, there would be stories everywhere about, is he okay?
Yeah, if Bernie had spent the last weeks having as many misstatements,
Yep.
Or gaffes, whatever, verbal
Brain
tics or
farts.
whatever, brain farts, do you think that the press takeaway coverage of all of that would be, it doesn't matter?
Yeah. He's just connecting.
Let's all
to
get a
He's
big
connecting
bowl of
with
strawberry
vote- yeah.
ice cream.
Yeah. No, or the idea
It's
is
time for ice cream, Bernie.
yeah, the idea is those gaffes only matter to media, political people. He's connecting with real folks. They're more interested in hearing about his universal health care plan than, whether he can string a sentence together. Oh, yeah, there's another article about Bernie's losing the corn kernel primary at the Iowa State Fair
He's
right
getting
now.
whipped in it.
Yeah, he's getting whipped pretty bad. We walked by it the other day. Very, very paltry corn kernels. Biden, obviously,
A muscular corn kernel.
he had almost
total.
a full mason jar of corn kernels. But
He was
again,
on a
I
stiff
just
jar.
think it's the corn kernel poll is even worse than the polls that only call people with landlines.
Yeah.
Who are
This is
currently-
it only calls people with corn kernels access to corn kernels, which is
I'm saying,
usually the top 1%.
it skews old. The corn kernel poll is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, if you polled 100 people and asked them, do you have access to a corn kernel right now? The people who said yes would be older, I think. And whiter.
Older, whiter, wealthier.
Older and whiter than the general population. I think it's safe to say.
To vote in the corn kernel poll, you have to place a Werther's Original or peppermint candy in a big bowl.
The Iowa Republican Party is trying to make corn kernel the official way to vote in actual elections. It's another voter suppression mechanism. You have to bring your own kernel.
I don't have much more to say. I don't want to give too much away about our Iowa State Fair experience.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We got the Iowa crowd to to tend with.
Well, I mean, if there's anything else, if you wanted to fill a little more time, we could just talk about the fair generally in terms that we would not talk about tomorrow because the crowd would know what the fair is. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Like explain to the people what a fair is like.
Yes.
It's a fair point because
Okay.
not everyone has been to a state fair, and you might think, "Oh, I've been to a county fair. I get the gist." No. The state fair is a whole other beast. It's much bigger. It's very involved. It's
This
a lot
ain't
of shit.
your mama's parish fair.
No.
Cut that.
Keep it in.
The Iowa State Fair is massive. I would say like my one sort of observation about the crowd at the Iowa State Fair and Iowans in general is that they are really into like fighting incurable diseases.
Oh yeah.
There's a big presence of people who are like, let's fucking kill cancer.
Let's kick this shit
Let's
out
get,
of
like, and like I saw a lot of people with these shirts that was like, hashtag the digit 2 end alls. And I was like, what's the end alls movement? And they're like, it's to end Alzheimer's. And I was like, oh, okay, Joe Biden supporters. No, but like, yeah, like, it's just a lot of people who are like really into, just taking on the incurable maladies that plague us as a species. They're very into that.
Yeah,
And also
I think if those shirts are any indication, I think we're going to have these diseases licked pretty soon.
They're very into fighting incurable diseases and Slipknot.
They love Slipknot. It was amazing. It really did remind me that Slipknot is Iowa's ICP. They are the
hometown heroes. They're
the
from Des
hometown
Moines,
heroes. Yeah,
and they got a new album out. They played the state fair on Saturday night.
Yep.
Okay, now here's something you are gonna hear that we saw Warren and Bernie. Warren was there on Saturday. Bernie was there on Sunday. I think a number of people have pointed out that Warren had the biggest crowd at the Iowa.
That was
State Fair.
Weigel's estimate, yeah.
Yeah, it was hard to see. Bernie had a huge crowd too. I don't know if I can like confidently
I could
compare the size, but the Warren definitely got a lot of energy, good crowd. So did Bernie. I think maybe Warren had a slightly bigger one. However, if you hear that in media accounts, I would just like to add that you also have to take into account that Saturday was Slipknot Day at the fair, and there was a massively more numbers of people there to see Slipknot.
Yeah, there might have been some Slipknot curious people in that crowd. You don't know.
This is a piece that Felix and I were obsessed with back in 2015 when we were writing together. This is The Fix. Chris,
Hell
The Fix, Saliza, August 13, 2015. 8 reasons I love the Iowa State Fair. You want it?
Yeah, give it to us.
Oh, let's get it.
Give it to us.
Let's get it right now.
I am an unapologetic Iowa homer. With the exception of that time my rental car got stolen out of a parking garage connected to the Hotel Fort Des Moines in 2011. Let it go, Chris. The state has been nothing but good to me in the dozens of times I visited it.
Wait a minute. So he's not from Iowa?
Hell, I wrote a piece outlining the 12 ways that Iowa rules. Oh, geez, one at a time. Number 2 on that list was the Iowa State Fair, which gets underway Thursday, runs for the next 11 days. In honor of the State Fair, which I've attended 4 times on non-consecutive occasions, I put together a list. Yes, a list of the 8 things, I could have listed 80, I love most about it. Also, if you're going to the fair, you're going to need this. The Des Moines Register, blah, blah, blah. All right, here they are. Ready? Number 1, the Des Moines Register soapbox. Every candidate running for president will stop by the soapbox. It's really just a platform surrounded by hay bales to deliver some version of their stump speech. These speeches, which are heavily attended by the media and much more lightly attended by actual fairgoers, range from the hilarious/sad throwing of flying discs by Fred Karger into the sparse crowd to the genuinely important. The best recent example of that latter category was Mitt Romney's terrible 2011 turn at the soapbox when he uttered the now famous/infamous corporations or people line.
I will say to Chris's observation about the Des Moines Register soapbox, he is right, and I was like a little surprised. Like, these are all the political candidates are coming through. The crowd, I mean, it was like half of it were media.
Yeah.
And the crowds for these were like, considering that like every day at the fairground, there's like at least 50,000 people on the ground, if not 100 at any given moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Very sparsely attended. This really is like mostly a media thing. Like I said, Sanders and Warren got pretty big crowds, but keep in mind, like the line to see the butter cow was like at least 10 times as big as Mayor de Blasio or, John Hickenlooper or even Cory Booker.
It's honestly about the length of 40 de Blasios. No, it's true.
There are more people gathered to see the fucking giant hog. All right, let's see the rest of those reasons he loves the state fair.
2, the cat. Also, I'm going to say I agree with 1. Yeah, I'm with Chris on it. I love the soapbox. 2, the cast your colonel votes. An empty jar for each candidate. Each fairgoer gets a colonel. Most colonels wins.
Wins what?
Presidency.
Presidency, yeah. That's it. That's all he wrote.
Okay.
All right.
I disagree with that.
I disagree. Colonels suck. 3, the pork producer's tent. Let's start here. It can get very hot in Iowa in August. Combine heat with the required shot of every candidate for president standing over a hot griddle cooking pork and other assorted meats, and you get photographic gold. Also, lots of sweat.
I have to say, the pork chop on a stick was very delicious.
The pork chop on a stick was delicious, but I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
He's just talking about the pork producers. What's in the tent?
Pork.
Yeah.
Okay.
They produce pork at the tent.
4, butter cow.
Yeah.
I mean, this one doesn't need much explanation. It's a cow made entirely of butter. Just in case you need more incentive, Donald Trump and the butter cow will have a historic summit at 1 p.m. Saturday. Oh, this is still part of that period where Chris Cillizza was the biggest guy, loving how wacky and memey the Trump campaign was. I think Cillizza was wearing a MAGA hat at some point as a joke. And yes, the butter cow has her own Twitter feed, although sadly it doesn't appear to be active. I agree with Chris. Yeah, butter cow's great.
Butter cow's fine.
It sucks that the butter cow got banned for being a Nazi on Twitter. Okay, number 5, the hogs. This has nothing to do with politics, but holy crap, are these hogs big? We had the same reaction as Chris Cillizza to the hogs.
No, there was some
There's some small boys.
Big hogs.
Their testicles are the size of volleyballs.
Yeah,
it is
for
really impressive.
Yeah.
I agree with Chris. Yeah, yes, pro hog. 6, awkward photos of politicians eating corn dogs. Okay, no one can look cool eating a corn dog.
Wrong,
Like
I do.
no one.
I do.
That's all he wrote.
I took we videotaped me eating a corn dog at the fair, and I look like a fucking pimp.
I will say, though, no bullshit, though, Iowa State Fair, that was the best corn dog I've ever had.
I didn't even know a corn dog could be good.
It was like on a whole other level than any other corn dog I've ever had. It was delicious. It was delightful.
Great dog.
Wonderful fair food.
Great dog.
and it really absolutely lives up to the hype of Iowa.
So Chris, I think he just got tuckered out midway through writing these because the rest don't even have explanations.
Let's hear him.
Number 7, Donut Sunday.
Okay.
And finally, number 8, Jamie Lynn Spears.
What? No explanation of that.
Well, she played at the Iowa State Fair then, so.
It's kind of sus, dude.
It's a little sus.
It's a little sus.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
There you go. Those are Chris's top 8. What are your top 8?
Yeah. What are our top 8 things at the fair?
Like I said, the corn dogs, the pork chops. Oh, the 27-degree beer.
27-degree beer. That's a marvel of modern medicine.
I just grabbed the mic to explicitly also agree. The 27-degree beer. They have this beer stand there that has like super cold water, like kept in motion, so it can be below freezing. And they put the beers in the aluminum tall cans in this super chilled water. And usually when you get something that says ice cold beer, you're like, yeah, fine, cold beer, whatever. But I swear to God, every time this 27-degree beer hit my tongue, it was like a little taste of heaven.
It chilled you down. It cooled you down so well.
It's one of these things like
immediately my body temperature dropped 2 or 3 degrees.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
It is, baking hot and like it's just flat, almost no shade.
Yep.
It is oppressively hot at these state fairs, and there's like tens of thousands of people around everywhere, and you get that 27-degree beer, and it's like, yeah, like you said, like ice cold beer, fine, whatever. We all love a frosty one. You get that just a Bud Light in a big styrofoam cup, and that 27-degree. It's something that I didn't know how badly I needed it until I had it. And it paid. It was totally worth it.
Okay, here are my top 8. Number 1, 27-degree beer for the reasons that you have all stated. Number 2, Des Moines Register soapbox. It's overlap with Chris's on that one. Number 3, harassing the candidates at the media scrum next to the Des Moines Register soapbox. Number 4, pork chop on a stick. It was delicious. Excellent pork chop. Number 5, shitting and pissing in the media bathroom. Little tip for fairgoers: if you lie to acquire a press pass, you get to use the human restrooms in a nice air-conditioned media zone. Walk out with your colleagues at ABC News and NPR while shitting and farting out your doo-doo ass.
Yeah, we realized. I mean, maybe this is bad to tell people, but you could just go in there and get a fucking media pass. It requires nothing. You just say, I'm from X, and they just have here, sign here, and they give you a pass.
It's fine to say it because there were like assorted like MAGA and toilet paper USA people trying to get in the media area to like the yell gender at Michael Bennett or something, and they were getting turned away. And they failed at this task.
Idiots!
Even they are too stupid to think to try to get a media pass.
Really dumb.
Okay.
All right. Number 6. Number 6. Butter cow. Yeah, butter. It's a cow made of butter. Yeah,
It's
butter.
like-
It's everything you expect, honestly.
In
One thing I
addition
did.
to the butter cow, they also had, I think, quite exquisite butter sculptures of Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch,
Yep.
and another Sesame
That
Street
dumb,
character.
annoying girl, the new one.
Come on, Matt.
Come on, man.
What?
Dude, that's a no growth. That's a no growth, dude.
All right. Number 7. Surprising amount of train content here.
Oh,
It's
yes.
not known.
Delightful.
The thing is, the Iowa State Fair, the reporters always talk about, the corn dogs, and the pork chop, the steak, and all that shit. But they never really force the candidates to observe model trains, which I think would be far more explanatory and enlightening than like forcing Jay Inslee to pet a large hog or something like that. Because you go inside. There's a big. We saw multiple model train sets. Like the big one was the Model Train Association, and it's a city. It's a city. There's a very rural area, but there's also some mixed use in the kind of city center. Like interesting division of industrial and commercial.
They had a drive-in movie theater. They had a haunted house. They had beekeepers. They had all these incredible like mid-century Americana details of like the old Coca-Cola ads, like light up neon signs on the top of building, General Electric, Maxwell House Coffee. I would say that the Model Train Association's exhibit at the Iowa State Fair, top 10 museum I have ever been to in my life.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
piece of shit out of the Morgan Library.
Yeah, fuck off, Louvre.
I will say, Iowans, please do us all a favor and start forcing the candidates to walk through the model train zone and just give their observations.
Yeah, I
And
want to
here's-
hear
no,
what they have
this
to
is-
say
that is a
about
great idea.
infrastructure.
That is a great idea because I think more so than the pork chop or the livestock or whatever, the way they interact with the trains will tell you everything you need to know about them.
Yes,
If
yes,
one of them just sort of walks through and they just sort of like nods play, they'll be like, oh, that's nice. Walks through nice model trains.
Yep.
Can't trust them.
Sicko.
But if you see someone coming in and they're like, look, they got the Union Pacific line. Look at that. Is that diesel?
I warn you though. One guy who would pass that test is Joe Biden. That motherfucker loves fucking trains.
That's true.
Now, but see, Joe Biden, this is an opportunity for Joe Biden to make one of his infamous gaffes when he confuses a diesel train for a diesel electric train. Oh, what a fool. Number 8. All those big boys we saw in the livestock areas.
Yeah, large boys.
I mean, most of them were gals, to be honest.
Yeah,
All
that's
those, no animals or boys, I think. All those large ones.
All right. Well, I concur with Virgil's Iowa State faves.
Yeah, for sure. Those are really-
But again, if you are an Iowan listening to this, you have the power to force the candidates to do whatever dumb shit you want. They are here to grovel for your vote. They don't know what the local customs are. You can make shit up. Please make a train custom, and they have to drink milk directly from a cow.
yeah, you got to get down there and you got to suckle on that teat.
They have to take a shower in the horse shower.
Yeah. They have to,
Oh my god!
They have to go
fucking
to the.
Bill de Blasio's just standing there soaping up while they hose him down.
They have to go to the
and there's
washing
a giant
barn.
scrum of fucking photographers taking pictures of him.
Also,
That's got to be the new tradition. Iowa State Fair. You're getting hosed down, buddy.
you're getting hosed down. Just wrangling a Bill de Blasio in the horse area. Also, you have to go on the Ferris wheel with one of your competitors, with another candidate, and hold hands. And if anything happens, you know what happens.
That's a good one.
That's it, Iowans. You can make it happen. They'll do it. You're in charge.
Or no, like in the horse and pig barns, there's areas where like they display them and like they do like a dressage.
That's
and
a good
kind of
idea.
Like we were walking through the horse barn and there was like like all these whole row of stables, but it was like the horses and the girls who show them were all getting like their hair and makeup done.
Yeah,
at the same
had a little
time.
beauty
And
spot.
I think the candidates, there should be like a big dirt circle, and they should all have to walk out and like trot with their legs up. And,
Yes,
like,
yes.
jog, run, maybe like just show off their beauty and their
No, show off the goods.
Show off the
you know.
goods.
And there should be someone with a stick to keep them on.
Right,
the
someone with a
wrangler with like a
stick.
little stick or a
And
leash.
there are judges there who are like gauging whether or not Joe Biden is Delaware breed standard.
whether his teeth are up to snuff. But just like a little handler with a little stick who just sort of wrangles the politicians.
keep 'em on the path.
Keep them trotting, keep them moving around, showing off their beautiful
And then
manes.
if they do good, they get a sugar cube.
Yeah, their lovely muscular haunches, and then their
Well, I gotta say,
their bulging full udders.
I will say this: if they did that, if they had them prance around like that, Joe Stack wins because he has got a lithe, beautiful, coltish manner. He is graceful. He's like a dancer.
Oh
He
yeah.
would just be coltishly prancing around the playground. He would destroy it. He would win in a landslide.
I guess a closing thought. Virgil's correct. People of Iowa, the power is in your hands in so many ways.
Let's get nutty with it.
Please, get kind of litty and make these hogs work for you.
Yes.
You know,
the only time
Iowa
you're ever gonna have
knows
that
how to
power.
treat hogs, and you just got to treat the politicians like the hogs.
Yes.
Put them
Yep.
in a pen. Have people walk by and sort of ruffle their hair and squeeze their little snouts.
So
All right.
I guess that wraps it up.
Signing off from Des Moines,
we will have
Iowa.
a more full Iowa report at our live show on stage at Vaudeville Muse in 2 nights.
And our film documentary about the Iowa State Fair that should also be coming out.
Yes.
in
Keep
the near
your eyes
future.
peeled for that.
Quick plug. I think tickets are still available for HP Lovecraft, us doing Call of Cthulhu live Providence.
August
You-
23rd.
You know what it is. August 23rd. Ticket link in the description. Venmo in the bio.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.
From Des Moines. Signing off.
Oink oink.
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 Signing off.